Hello and welcome to News 9. I am Shubhayan Chakravarti, joined by Nikhil Narayan to discuss the big match in IPL between Sunrisers Hyderabad and Kolkata Knight Riders. Two teams which has left its mark in this edition of IPL 2022. Sunrisers Hyderabad started on a very torrid note, but then again came back with two successive wins in the last two matches, whereas Kolkata Knight Riders have enjoyed a good tournament so far under new captain Shreyas Iyer. Nikhil, discussing this big match, SRH, KKR, SRH coming on the back of two back-to-back wins, and KKR were defeated by Delhi Capitals. What are you expecting from this match?
A very interesting match. Two teams who, all of us, Shubhayan, did not fancy before the start of the tournament. We all thought that these two teams are not the strongest, most balanced teams on paper, but they've surprised us. Right. They've surprised us. Sunrisers, as you said, started on a very bad note, lost their first couple of matches, but they've come back in style. And KKR have had a strong tournament. They have followed that very aggressive, all-out attack policy which they adopted from the second half of last year's IPL under the leadership of Brendan McCullum. So it's a very interesting contest. I still don't think they have a very potent batting unit, both these teams, but their bowling has come up to has risen to the occasion. Also, a few batsmen from both the teams are doing the job, and therefore it is working for both the teams.
Absolutely. And talking about Kolkata Knight Riders, they might make some changes to their batting unit. Ajinkya Rahane has not fired all cylinders. He did well in the first match, scoring 44 runs, but then since then it has been a downward slide for the veteran. Let's take a look at the likely 11 for KKR, Nikhil. Aaron Finch, the Australian T20 World Cup winning captain, he is likely to start today given how Ajinkya Rahane has been performing up top, and his partnership with Venkatesh Iyer could be a good startup for KKR.
It could be. See, Rahane is not bringing anything to the plate. He's not anchoring the innings. He's consuming deliveries, getting out cheaply after that one match in which he played well. Finch is not in great form, but Finch is a great T20I player, one of excellent record he has for Australia in T20I cricket overall. So Finch, if he does well, he can win you the match single-handedly. So it's a good bet to have Aaron Finch. And Venkatesh Iyer has been short of runs, we know, Shubhayan, this season.
Scored a half century in the last match.
He did. Overall, it's not been like what he did last season. But I think this combination, left and right, could be an interesting combination for KKR up the order.
Absolutely, and Aaron Finch's experience might help Venkatesh Iyer to come through this tough patch. And Sheldon Jackson is also likely to replace Sam Billings in the playing 11, the straight like-to-like replacement for a wicket keeper. And then you have the likes of Nitish Rana, Andre Russell, Sunil Narayan, Pat Cummins, Rafiq Salam. Rafiq Salam might also get dropped after a couple of poor matches, but then they have Shivam Mavi in the ranks as well, and then Umesh Yadav and Varun Chakravarti to complete that playing 11. Looks a good squad, and KKR fans would be hoping that this Bengali New Year starts with a win for them. Right, Nikhil?
Absolutely. Andre Russell, that innings, now Andre Russell is back, so now you expect him to produce that sort of a knock, one every 4 innings. If he does that, KKR is happy and they're sorted, because that match they will win.
Absolutely.
So 1 in 4 is like, it's enough. Also, Sunil Narayan has been brilliant with the ball. Even in the last match when they lost, he was the highest impact player of the match. In fact, he was very restrictive in a high-scoring match. He's one of the most restrictive bowlers in this tournament. So Sunil Narayan, he's not picking heaps of wickets like a Chahal is, but he is extremely restrictive, not giving any runs away. Pat Cummins is turning out to be a very effective all-rounder. We know what he did. Destroyed the career of his own fellow Australian Daniel Sams. So, bowling is still strong. Varun Chakravarti may not have the same mystery as before, but he's still, and I was reading, he's developed a new variation in his leg spin. So, they have a very strong bowling unit. Shreyas Iyer scored a half century in the last match, right? So the batting still needs to pick up, but the bowling is very strong, Shubhayan.
Bowling is very strong is what Nikhil is saying. You can look at that bowling units led by Sunil Narayan. Then you have Pat Cummins there. Umesh Yadav, who is one of the leading wicket takers in this IPL, has been super
in the new ball. Super in the new ball.
Absolutely. And then you have Varun Chakravarti, who can do the job. Then you have Andre Russell, who can do the job with the ball. So a good side to have for KKR, and maybe with a couple of changes they can get back to winning ways. But let's take a look at Sunrisers Hyderabad's playing 11. They have been mighty impressive in the last couple of games. Everyone was criticizing Sunrisers Hyderabad due to their combination, the team they have assembled. But in the last couple of matches, Nikhil, they have come good.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all counting them out. They'll finish last. I was, in fact, I made a statement, they'll finish last. I'm still going to back myself. I think they don't have that, that good a batting order to sort of finish in the top 5. But let's see. I mean, Abhishek Sharma was a revelation in the last match, a fine 70 odd or 50.
Kane Williamson needs to fire.
He needs to fire. What he's doing is he's scoring those 30s, 40s. He's consuming a lot of deliveries and he's getting out. So either you do a 75 of 65, then it's acceptable. You're playing the anchor. You can't do 30 of 30 balls and get out.
Absolutely.
And he's a much better batsman than that. So Williamson needs to step up he needs to plan what he's doing. Also, Rahul Tripathi, excellent knock, a cameo, 30 odd in half the number of deliveries. So they have Pooran. He's always be the X factor in that 11. So Markram is also a very good batsman. So therefore, it is a decent batting unit, but they need to have specific roles for each batsman. Bowling is strong. Natarajan for me has been a revelation. Very good Yorkers, very good variation in the death over especially. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Shreyas Gopal is a very good leg spinner. Umran Malik, a touch disappointing. That's expensive. He's bowling 150, 145, but he's
bowling in the slots.
He's bowling in the slot and his pace is being used by the batsmen and they're scoring runs. So Umran Malik, they've invested heavily in him, so they are playing him. In fact, he was retained. So Umran Malik, SRH needs to figure out how to use him. Maybe he can be first change. Don't bowl him in the power play. They need to see how they use him well.
But Dale Steyn, Sunrisers Hyderabad's pace bowling coach, he did a question answer session on Twitter yesterday, and he was asked by a few fans whether who is the most talented or exciting youngster in that SRH camp, and the answer was straight away that Umran Malik is the standout bowler for them in the nets, and even Marco Jansen, and he did say that Umran and Marco Jansen are the two pacers you are going to hear a lot more about in the future. But yes, he did accept that he needs to develop some more variations to make his bowling even more deadlier. But all you fantasy players, I think you guys must be waiting for that fantasy guide to help you out accumulate some good points in the rankings. We have so far, whatever teams we have created in the fantasy, they have done so far well so far. But yes, before we go to the fantasy guide, don't forget to subscribe to News 9 Sports, because that is where we are bringing you all the content related to IPL and from the other sporting actions going around in the world, be it football, hockey, athletics and many other sports. So just go to YouTube, type News 9 Sports and you'll find our new channel there. Subscribe to that, hit the bell notification icon so that you don't miss any action that is coming from our side. But Nikhil, SRH, KKR, which battle will make this contest even more interesting?
See, this is intrinsically a battle between two strong bowling units, according to me. Batting is not the strongest suit for both teams. There are many battles within this larger contest, Shubhayan. Kane Williamson.
Kane Williamson against Pat Cummins.
Pat Cummins will be fascinating. Sunil Narayan.
Against the entire middle order.
Absolutely. Varun Chakravarti, whether they use Varun in the power play is going to be an interesting option. So there are many battles which we can look forward to in this match.
Absolutely, and that is what makes this contest even more fascinating too. Both of them are not the strongest of sides in this IPL, but have made decent starts to their campaign. KKR obviously having a flying start, but then again went through a couple of hiccups. But on the other hand, Sunrisers Hyderabad started on a very bad note, but again picked themselves up with 2 back-to-back wins. Let's move to the fantasy guide, Nikhil, now, because that is what our fans are waiting for, our viewers are waiting for, and we are going to help you out get some good points in the fantasy game tonight in the match between SRH and KKR. So let's take a look at the fantasy guide. Nikhil, the captain must be straight away a good choice. Shreyas Iyer, local boy, scored a half century in the last match, looking in good touch, decent touch, not good touch I would say, but decently, has done decently so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting choice, but I usually like to go with a multi-skill player as captain for fantasy. This is not an actual team, right? So if you have a multi-skill player, he gives you points in batting and bowling both. So I may go with Sunil Narayan. I mean, it's just because you get points for both. Although he may not be actual captain of a playing 11, Shreyas might be a better captain, but just to get fantasy points, I may go with Nareen. Restrictive overs, scores 20 of 10 balls, and that way he gets more points.
Absolutely, and even Washington Sundar would have been a great bet had he not been injured. Unfortunately, he is out of this match due to a split webbing. So Washington Sundar is out, and that comes as a big blow for Sunrisers Hyderabad, given how well he was giving those 4 overs and batting down the order as well. Let's move to our next player in that fantasy guide. Obviously, Nikhil has said that you can captain Andre Russell or another multi-skilled player. But yes, for now we have kept Shreyas Iyer as the captain, given his consistency in the IPL and of course his record in Mumbai in his local ground. Let's take a look at who the next player is. Kane Williamson. Although he has not fired all cylinders when it comes to the strike rate, he has been scoring 30-40 that is SRH need.
And you need the calming influence of Kane Williamson. I mean, Williamson, you can trust Williamson. He has the experience. He's led New Zealand cricket to perhaps their greatest era ever in their history in the last few years across formats. So you need Kane Williamson. He has done well in the IPL in the past. He is capable of producing, that special knock of being the playmakers. So Williamson is important in that 11.
Absolutely, and strike rates don't play any role in fantasy application. So yes, Kane Williamson is a safe bet when it comes to getting points when he scores some runs. So Kane Williamson is a safe bet. Let's take a look at who the next player is in our fantasy guide, and he is another SRH batter who was a former KKR player, and he has done so far. He has been their standout batter so far, Nikhil.
Absolutely, and this guy was playing brilliantly for KKR last season. So Rahul Tripathi was the unsung hero for KKR. One of the reasons why they made it to the final last year.
True.
In fact, his striker was of 140 and we didn't even know. So this year also last match 39 of
very underrated.
Very underrated because he doesn't have the flamboyance, the charisma.
He does have a flamboyance in his batting, but yes,
that overall personality. It's not one of those larger than life personalities. But Rahul Tripathi has to be there. He's a utility cricketer.
Absolutely.
He can anchor, he can switch gears. He's been consistent. So Rahul Tripathi has to be there in the 11.
Absolutely, and a safe bet to have given his the kind of start he has had in this IPL so far. Started with a duck, but then he has transformed his game completely and is looking in a terrific touch in the last 3 matches. Let's move to another player. This time a KKR player, maybe an all-rounder as well, but KKR hasn't used him in the bowling that much in this IPL. We are talking about Nitish Rana, a handy bet given he bats in the middle order, top middle order, and hasn't fired all cylinders. But yes, if Nitish Rana fires, he gets big.
Yeah, I mean he's had his moments in the IPL. He hasn't ever reached his potential. But a left-hander, good to have a left-hander in the lineup. After 2 right-handers, Nitish Rana can hit the long ball. He's capable of winning matches single-handedly. He's shown that in the IPL. So yeah, Nitish Rana is a good choice if he plays to his potential at number 3.
Absolutely, and Nitish Rana maybe they can use his off spin against a few left-handers in that SRH 11. Maybe perhaps Abhishek Sharma as well, who has looked good in the last couple of matches. Let's move to our next player, and he might make his debut. He might make his IPL 2022 debut today. We are talking about Australian T20 limited overs captain Aaron Finch. For Australia, he has a terrific record. Let's be honest, Aaron Finch is one of the greats in international T20 cricket, but when it comes to IPL, he has not found his gears for whatever teams he has played in past. He has almost played in all the franchises, if I am not wrong. So Aaron Finch, a good bet, given he will be motivated to get off to a good start.
Absolutely, he'll want to make a mark in the IPL because IPL is the cash cow.
And came in as a replacement as well.
Absolutely, but I think Finch might open and Williamson might come at 4.
Yes.
So that might be the thing. Yes, I mean Finch, we discussed this during the show. Finch, an Australian great, not a great in the IPL, but there is no reason why he shouldn't do in the IPL. Lesser players with lesser talent have done much better. So Finch, he has all the shots. He's destructive. He can win. He's one half of the great Australian limited overs pairing of Finch and Warner. Right? And therefore, I think Finch will come good. There's no reason for Finch to not come good in the IPL at some point.
Absolutely, and given how quick Umran Malik is bowling in this IPL, I think Finch might enjoy that sort of extra pace on the north of 150. So Aaron Finch is one of the batters to watch out for in today's match. Let's move to another player from the KKR camp, an all-rounder, again an Australian. We are talking about Pat Cummins. What a hero he has emerged for KKR, Nikhil.
Absolutely. See, bowling, the best test bowler in the world, and he'll win you matches with the ball. I mean, he'll pick up wickets with the new new ball, he'll win new matches with the ball. But batting, I mean, we always thought he was a very classic batsman. He was like R. Ashwin, but he showed he's not only like R. Ashwin, he's a classical test batsman. He can score test centuries, but he can also hit the long ball.
He can give you just a joint quickest half century ever in IPL.
14 balls. I mean, it's unbelievable hitting. So, and I think it was not an aberration. I think he'll do it again. At maybe not 14 balls, but I think he has the potential to bat at 5, 6 and 7. So, he becomes a genuine all-rounder then.
Absolutely. He scored a half century in the last tournament as well, last previous edition, and it was a similar sort of knock, 24 ball half century. So, Pat Cummins has no doubt developed a knack of playing those sort of cameos down the order.
And so he could be choice for captain also.
Absolutely, Pat Cummins might be a good choice for captain as well. But the next player we are talking about, Nikhil has already put his bet when it comes to captaincy in Fantasy 11. We are talking about Andre Russell. The WrestleMania in IPL, Andre Russell so far, he has played a couple of cameos, good cameos made.
That one knock. That
one knock has to be the highlight.
I mean, that if you produce, I mean, I would say 3 such knocks in 14 matches, that is
you have done your job.
And you make a 0 in every other match, Shubhayan. KKR management will buy you in crores.
Absolutely.
That's all they need. Those 70 of 30 balls, 3 matches, 0 in every match. Not even 1, 0. They'll take you.
Because absolutely.
You win 3 matches.
If you can win 3 to 4 matches in a 14 league tournament, then I think it's a great bet to have a player like that. If someone can win you matches single-handedly, and Andre Russell is such player, he can win you matches from impossible situations. You need runs, plenty of runs. He will give you those runs when he's on song, and when he's on song, we know what Andre Russell can do. He doesn't need any introduction. Let's move to our next player as well. From Sunrisers Hyderabad camp this side, Yorker Natarajan. I mean, standout bowler for SRH, Nikhil?
Absolutely, standout bowler. He's been the highest wicket taker. He's been brilliant at the death.
You
know, a lot of
getting those Yorkers
getting those Yorkers right. You know, held his nerve. I think he's back to his best. He's back to what he was bowling.
In contention for the T20 World Cup, what do you say?
Given do we have a left armour of that caliber? We don't. Then he's in contention. We don't have a left armour of that class. He's in contention.
Absolutely, and he was in the T20 side before he got injured. Don't remember that, and of course he's a test hero, winning that GABA test for India as well. So T Natarajan, if he can come back to, he's in his looking in his best. So a bit of consistency, and he will be knocking at the door. Let's move to our next player in the fantasy guide, and he's also someone to look forward to in this match, and we are talking about Sunil Narayan, a champion, a legend, IPL legend. He doesn't need any introduction, right?
Absolutely brilliant. Sunil Narayan, he can do everything. Earlier in his career, he used to pick a lot of wickets. Now he doesn't pick as many wickets, but he's extremely restrictive. He's not giving runs. I mean, last match he gave 4 odd runs per over. His economy rate is the best in the tournament. Controlling the middle over. Sunil Narayan is just brilliant, and any runs from him are bonus. Plus the experience. So Sunil Narayan is just, some players, become better with age. He's just one of them.
Absolutely, and so many controversies around Sunil Narayan, given his action, his troubled action. But now he gave a statement that I won't wear full sleeves, watch my actions, and he's again at his restrictive best. And let's move to our next player in the fantasy guide, and he's also someone who can make this contest even more exciting. We are talking about a very talented bowler in Varun Chakravarti. Has looked good. A couple of matches he has been a tad expensive, but again, what a pair this is, Sunil Narayan and Varun Chakravarti.
I mean, off spinner, leg spinner, Varun Chakravarti. Still a lot of batsmen, Shubhayan, don't read him off the hand. They play him off the pitch, and therefore he still remains a sort of a mystery spinner, especially for some overseas batsmen. Varun Chakravarti may not pick as much wickets as he did in the last couple of seasons for KKR, but he's still a good enough bowler. I think he'll bag around 10 to 12 wickets, and if he can control the economy rate to less than 7, I think he's done his job.
Plus we have to consider that the last couple of seasons the IPL was played in the UAE, so the pitches there assisted spinners a lot more. But Varun Chakravarti so far has created a good pairing with Sunil Narayan, and yes, the 8 overs, Kolkata bank on those 8 overs to pick wickets, restrict the opposition, and give that spin choke to the opposition. Let's move to another player, this time from the Sunrisers camp, and he is the last player of our fantasy guide, an experienced campaigner who has not got his rhythm right so far, but obviously when he's on song, he's dangerous as anyone can be.
Absolutely. So Kumar has the experience. He is a brilliant new ball bowler if there is a little bit of assistance. Swing and seam, perfect seam, the ball moves, jags back, gets it in. He does not have the pace anymore. And maybe he's not in the contention for India anymore, given age, etc. But Bhuvneshwar Kumar actually was one of the reasons, why SRH did so well from the time of the inception till 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. And Bhuvneshwar Kumar is also the reason why they haven't done well in the last couple, because his form personally has gone down. But his experience and whatever he's done in the past, you have to have him in the 11.
Absolutely, and given the kind of form Aaron Finch has, and he has had his issues with the swinging deliveries. So Bhuvneshwar Kumar might come good against Aaron Finch if he plays, and of course Venkatesh Iyer's form up top hasn't been that great. So Bhuvneshwar Kumar might come as a great option. For Sunrisers Hyderabad. So here's our fantasy guide, fantasy 11 for this match. Shreyas Iyer, captain. Nikhil has said you can put Andre Russell as captain or any other multi-skilled players. Pat Cummins obviously is another great choice for captaincy. Kane Williamson, Rahul Tripathi. We have kept Rahul Tripathi as vice captain given his terrific run of form in the last few matches. Nitish Rana is there, a high risk choice. If he comes good, then you will get plenty of points and maybe he can be your differential. Aaron Finch is expected to start today in place of Ajinkya Rahane, so maybe Aaron Finch, if he plays today, can be a very good differential pick. Pat Cummins, Andre Russell pick themselves, they don't need any introduction. Then T. Natarajan, standout bowler for Sunrisers Hyderabad. Sunil Narayan, Varun Chakravarti, the KKR spin duo whom KKR depend completely on, and then Bhuvneshwar Kumar to complete this fantasy 11. So let us know whether you agree with this playing 11 or not, whether you are thinking of making some changes to your squads as well, and we will make that changes if those changes have valid reasons. But don't forget to subscribe to News 9 Sports, because that is where we are bringing you all the content related to IPL and other sporting actions from around the world as well. So News 9 Sports is your one-stop destination when it comes to all things sports. Subscribe to News 9 Sports. Just go on YouTube and type News 9 Sports to get our channel and subscribe that, so you don't miss any action related to IPL and other sporting action. Nikhil, before we wrap up, SRH, KKR, whom are you banking?
Oh, it's a difficult one today, Shobha. It's a difficult one. See, KKR have lost the last match, SRH have won the last two. I think KKR will come back strongly today. Maybe KKR today.
KKR, Nikhil is backing KKR, and will it be a good happy Poila Boishak for all the KKR fans? Let's see. But Sunrisers Hyderabad would be itching to make it 3 out of 3 and turn their table around when it comes to their form in IPL 2022. Nikhil, that's it from our side. Thank you so much for joining. We'll be doing the preview show in Hindi as well at 6:30, and then followed by English preview at 7:30. So if you want to watch the Hindi preview, then tune in to TV9 Digital, TV9 UP Uttarakhand channel along with Bharatvarsh, and then we will be back at News 9 at 7 o'clock to preview the SRH versus KKR in English. So don't forget to subscribe to News 9 Sports, and that is where you will get us giving you all the analysis and previews and reviews of IPL matches. Thank you so much for watching.